Good morning, class. Welcome to our second lecture in geography, which deals with resources and development. In the previous class, we had studied about resources, their classification, resource planning, and its importance. Today, we are going to learn about land as a resource. Why is land resource very important? And that is our main question to discuss today. If you go to see, there are many reasons for the importance of land as a resource being important. Some of them are listed here. Land is the habitat of man. When we say habitat of man, it is the place where man is going to live. It is that place where he is going to survive. All his needs are going to be performed. Therefore, all the economic activities are performed on land. If I go to school to teach you, I'm going to perform my economic activity on land. Today, we are having our classroom from home. That too is a land. Your parents are also working from home. So the economic activities undertaken to earn an income are performed on land. The soil cover on the land is essential for plant growth. So land is necessary for agriculture. Land is used to set up industrial units. As you can see, very soon the lockdown will open up and we shall be meeting in school. At the same time, industries would have opened or will be in the process of opening. And that time, we will all need land as a very important resource. And once we have land as our resource, the next important resource will be human beings. Roads and railways are built on land. Obviously, you can't fly if you have to sit in a car. There are flying cars, but the most important are going to be on land. Commercial activities require land. Natural vegetation and wildlife are all supported by land. Now, land has been used for different relief features in India very differently. And we are going to discuss them. If you remember, India is the 7th largest country in the world. And how much did you say was our geographical area? How many million square kilometers did you say it was? Yes, you're right. Absolutely, 3.28 million square kilometers of area, 7th largest country. I remember grade 9 geography. Now, out of all this area, 43% is plains, 30% are the mountains, and 27% are your plateaus. The region is rich in water resources, which is your mountainous region. The plains are good for agriculture and industry, whereas the plateaus are rich in minerals, fossil fuels, and forests. Please keep the correct spelling of plateau in mind. Plateau. Now, depending on the use, Our land resources can be classified as forests, net zone area, fallow land, other uncultivated land, and land not available for cultivation. Fallow lands can further be divided into current fallow and other than current fallow. Uncultivated land other than fallow land is further divided into permanent pastures, land under miscellaneous tree crops, and land left uncultivated for more than 5 years. Land not available for cultivation is either barren wasteland or land used for non-agricultural purposes. So now look at the statistics provided to you of the land use pattern in India. The total land area of India, as we just spoke, is 3.28 million square kilometers. Out of this, your net zone area is 43.41%. Forests occupy only 22.57% of your land area. 6.29% is wasteland, whereas 7.92% is used for non-agricultural purposes. 3.45% is pastoral. 1.10% is used for tree crops. 4.41% is cultivable waste. 3.82% of the land is fallow other than current fallow. 7.03% of the land is current fallow. And this is your comparative chart, the pie chart in the book. It's comparing the land use pattern in 1960-61 with that of 2008-2009. And you can follow the key and realize where the land is being used. So after you have studied this particular thing, you will realize that the area under forest is way below the required 33% as planned in the National Forest Policy. Area under forest. It is to the right. If you notice, I have left it on for a longer time than I should because I want you to observe it carefully. And below 33% means in 2008-2009 our area under forest was only 22%, 10% less. The area under permanent pasture and grazing grounds is also decreasing. And continuous and indiscriminate use of land resources results in such land degradation. So what causes land degradation? And what are the different human and natural factors affecting land degradation? Large-scale soil erosion caused by running water and wind. At number 2, dumping of waste material from mining centers and industrial units. At number 3, you have over-irrigation, which leads to increase in the salinity and alkalinity of the soil. At number 4, there's overgrazing by animals and deforestation by man. Number 5, wastewater from the industrial units pollutes the land. And number 6, that should be, mineral processing like grinding of limestone for cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry creates a lot of dust which is deposited in the neighboring land. This also causes land degradation. Human activity has also contributed to increased pace of natural land degradation. Deforestation removes the green cover required to prevent soil erosion. Overgrazing, if you realize, by the cattle turns permanent pastures into barren land. Disposal of solid and liquid waste by industries on surrounding land or water bodies has also become a major cause for land and water pollution. So when we are talking about industries, once again we talk about dumping of solid waste, discharge of wastewater, mineral processing units, and deforestation or clearing of forests. So in case if you were asked to mention only about industries, you would mention just these points. If you were asked an overall answer, then you would mention from the previous image or the previous screen where you had more of the causes for land degradation. Now they ask you to suggest measures of conservation for land and soil. However, we shall deal with certain important steps for conservation of land first. So the first one is going to be afforestation. It is always the opposite of deforestation. In deforestation, we cut trees. In afforestation, we plant trees. Control of grazing and mining activities. Stabilization of sand dunes, especially for soil erosion. Proper disposal of industrial effluents after treatment. And continuous monitoring of soil conditions. These are the most important steps. So, when we say end deforestation, control grazing, encourage afforestation, practice terrace farming in the hilly areas. Preparation of shelter belts of plants or plantation of shelter belts and stabilization of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes will help to prevent land degradation in the desert region. Controlling mining activities and new technology which reduces wastage should be adopted. Industrial waste should be chemically treated to remove the harmful substances. Urban waste should be used for the production of biogas and biomanure. Over-irrigation should be stopped and new methods of irrigation should be followed. Now let's look at the overall picture of degraded land in India. 130 million hectares of land in India is degraded. 56% of it is water eroded. 28% of it is forest degraded. 6% is saline and alkaline deposits, whereas 10% is wind eroded area. Now I have a very interesting crossword puzzle for you. If you cannot draw the puzzle, at least copy the clues and try and answer it. You'll have fun doing it. So let's start with across. Area brought under cultivation in a year. Area brought under cultivation in a year. It's like playing a quick quiz. 3 across. Soil generally sandy and saline in nature. Soil generally sandy and saline in nature. 4 across. A renewable resource. A renewable resource. Let's do the down clues. One down, a recyclable resource. A recyclable resource. 5 down, a national resource. 6 down, the soil type of the Deccan Trap. A soil typical of the Deccan Trap. 6 down. 7 down, Delhi is situated in this soil belt. 8 down, steps cut on hill slopes. Steps cut on hill slopes. 9 down, things in the environment which can be used for satisfying our needs. Things in the environment which can be used for satisfying our needs. 10 down, a renewable source of energy. A renewable source of energy. Now the answers are very easy. The entire puzzle is very easy. Just in case if you think we haven't done the soil types and I'm questioning you on it, open the book. The textbook gives you the answers. If you think you do not know a particular answer, do not hesitate to open the book and check it out. After all, you are bright children. Now here is a YouTube link. I would like you and advise you to visit this link, watch the video and take a quick recap. Before I end today's class, I would also advise you that since next time we are going to deal with resources and development part 3 and we are going to be doing soil as a resource, I'd like you to try, and now that you're still at home in lockdown maybe 4.0 or India opens up 1.0, however you put it, but since you're still at home and you have the time, I'd like you to try and in your balcony, in your window, in your terrace or in your kitchen maybe, try and grow a few plants, a few crops and see. Take a feel, a hands-on experience, what I would normally call experiential learning. And I would want you to try it out at home. Is it possible for you to grow a few crops? See if you can. So I would suggest you can grow coriander. That's dhania patta or kothmeer. Try and grow it. Then you can grow fenugreek leaves, which is your methi bunch, a bunch of methi. Then mint leaves, what you call pudina. Then you can also try growing tomatoes. They are easy to grow at home. Tomatoes are easy to grow at home. You can try growing potatoes. So these are simple things you can grow at home. When you are growing these crops, and in case if you think you want to grow ladyfinger, oranges, or any other plant that grows under the soil or something, feel free to grow it. Under the soil, over the soil, feel free to grow anything you like. But when you are growing, I'd like you to take a notepad or a rough sheet or a blank sheet of paper and take note of the process involved in the growing of that particular crop. I don't want you to grow all crops. Try growing one and nurture it. So, what kind of a pot did you use? How did you plant it? Or how did you sow the seed? What kind of soil did you use? Is that soil suitable for that kind of the crop that you are using? Or did you use a local soil and see whether the crop you have any intention of growing grows? I want you to experiment. So that is your experiential learning activity for my next class. When I come for your next geography lesson, you will have at least had something to do as your experiential learning activity, your hands-on learning, and you will tell me maybe at some later date what has happened to the crop that you have grown. So until we meet again, goodbye. Thank you.